And we're back. My THOT crew, THOT team, my THOT clan, group, affiliation, whatever fancy words, program, my thoughts. The thoughts of Scott's Thoughts podcast. What's up, y'all? We're back. Episode 4. We're moving. We're getting this shit rolling. Thank you for all the support everyone's been giving. It's really good. I appreciate it. Appreciate talking to all of you. Really helps out. So keep the feedback coming. But you know how to reach me if you don't. Website, which I'm still kind of working on. I'm figuring out how to, I got to figure out how to do all the posts and stuff. It's just a matter of me doing it. I'm going to start after this podcast, actually. Hopefully by the time this is up, you look at my website's done. Scott's Thoughts Podcast, SCOTTSTHOUGHTS Podcast, PODCAST.wordpress.com. You can find my links to everything there. I'll try to keep it updated. My links will be updated. I'll try to post up there pretty regularly. Instagram, Scott's Thoughts Podcast, just like you spell it. Kick, Scott's Thoughts, just like you spell it. If you want to text me and be like a text almost, just conversation back and forth, let me know. Snapchat is Scott's Thoughts, but it's spelled THOTS. So snap me some pictures. Let me know what you think. Alright, now that I got that out of the way, this episode's a little more serious. We talked about Tinder and nudes in the last two. Like I said, Mondays I want to try to make serious episodes, or more, I say serious and loosely, and Thursday will be kind of mess around. So, this topic today, I figured a good one to start with, is failure. That's a really big thing. Because everyone does it. I'm doing this podcast because I failed at 2 other podcasts. I have failed a lot, and everyone has failed a lot, but it's stigmatized as really bad, and it's a horrible feeling, and it makes you feel bad, and you feel embarrassment, you feel shame, you disappointed yourself, you disappointed others. But failure is what makes everything. And I know this is going to be a huge cliche episode, because everyone always hears that Edison tried 1,000 times to make a light bulb and he didn't fail. He just learned 1,000 ways not to make one, or some shit. But it's kind of true. But you have to appreciate everything for what it is. You have to enjoy the highs as much as you learn from the lows, because you can go take failure and you can let it destroy you, or you can let it build you. And there's some people they're too afraid to fail. They won't even try something. They won't even go for what they want to do. And that's the issue, is people are afraid to fail, and you shouldn't be afraid to fail, because you have one chance on this earth to do whatever you want. And I don't think that your dream is to be a pencil pusher all day. If it is, then you're killing the game. Keep doing it. I'm not knocking anybody. If going to a job 9 to 5 is what you enjoy, and having your weekends, and that's what you like, then do it. But most people out there have aspirations, and the reason I didn't pursue them is a lot of times because they don't want to fail. It's a fear. It's a comfort. You have to get out of that comfort zone. You have to be able to accept that you can fail. Like this podcast. My last 2, they gave me I had very little following. I was learning. The first one was with 2 other people. We didn't have good mics. We didn't know how to set anything up. We were figuring this out. That obviously lasted a month, 2 months, and it was gone. We didn't know what to do. We were making 5-hour episodes because we had no idea. So I take that lesson. Then earlier this year, I tried another podcast I made, and I took what I had learned, and from the other one, some of the successes, most of the failures, in quotes, failures, things I would not see as ideal, and I was able to work with those and move forward and make a better podcast. I was able to promote it better. I was able to do this. I was getting more downloads. I had things going my way, but I ran out of money. I had an eye surgery issue. I was out 5 months, couldn't work, couldn't do anything. I'm all back now from that. I'm looking for a job, and that's where I'm at. But that's what, I can't say that as a failure. That's what life handed me. So I learned from that, and now I'm on to this one. And I take all the lessons I have, all of the episodes that didn't get listened to, all of the knowledge I gained of this is not how you set this up. This is not how you do that. And you move forward with it, and I'm putting it into this. And I'm learning, and I'm taking it. And I could have gave up after the first one when no one listened, no one cared. But no one listened or cared. The second one, I had 100, 200 downloads. From 0 to 200, that's a big leap. And I'm already getting downloads on this podcast because I keep moving forward. And if this one fails, I'll keep moving forward. You keep, maybe not in podcasts, maybe you branch out, but you don't. I'm not going to stop. I can't just quit. And that's not how I could get depressed and sad and take it as an L, but don't take it as an L or a loss. Just accept what happened, embrace it, and learn and move forward from that. Don't sit in your failures, because that'll kill you. I've trained mixed martial arts. I've done jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, all that stuff since I was 15. I've been competing since I was 17, I guess. I had my first grappling tournament. And the team I was with wasn't a very good team at the time, and I'm not making that as my excuse, but they wouldn't show up to the tournaments, they wouldn't do this. So I'm at my first tournament, I get choked out. Then the next fight in the tournament, I got slammed, and then the same thing. Okay, so I was embarrassed in front of all of my family, my friends, everybody. Just watch me do something that I was so passionate about just get crushed in front of me. Just right in front of me. So I get up, and I was immature then. I would handle it wrong. You get sad and depressed, but I didn't really move forward. I kind of sat in a slump for about a month. And then I started training again. You feel good. Everything's going well. So this next tournament, I worked on the things that I had failed on in the first one. And then some of the successes. I didn't really have any successes in that first one, but I learned. So on the record, it's a loss, but I can let that define me. I can let it be that I am a loser, or I can go, you know what, I got bested. I can learn from this. I have a lot of things to prove. I have a chip on my shoulder. I can work harder now. I know what to expect. I can see the atmosphere I'm in. That's the thing about failure, is it's a good way to get comfortable. I was terrified to go on that mat. I'd never felt nerves of competing. I've never been a good athlete. I was horrible through school when I played sports. And I had those nerves. How does this work? How does the weigh-in work? Do I shake his hand? Do I not shake his hand? What if I do this and that and yada, yada, yada? So I lost, but going into this next tournament, now I know how it works. So even though I failed, I have more understanding. That's the thing. Failure is just a way to get comfortable. And don't get comfortable in being and failing. I guess you should get comfortable, but don't accept that you're just going to fail. But be comfortable. You get comfort as you lose. You learn, and that gets a little easier and a little easier. So this next time, I know the whole process. I know when I need to weigh in. I know how I'm going to feel when I walk out there. I know how my friends and family. But this time, it was delayed like 6 hours, so I'm just having to hang out by myself. I'm nervous. The fight happens. I get a takedown. And I'm on top for about 2 minutes, I guess. Moving around, feeling good. I get caught in the same choke I was caught in last time. I do the defense I try to know. I get caught. I have to tap. I lose. I get choked out. So now I'm, again, still immature, very aggressive, very mad about it. I walk with my head down, out. I'm crying. I'm upset. I don't like to lose. And you train so hard for it, and I thinking to myself, I lost this way 3 times. Like, what can I do? So I changed teams. I at that point I changed teams, started working, and I justified it to myself, and I think it was a really good idea. I said, I'm going to take an MMA fight, because I do all the kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and everything. It's just just in this area of jiu-jitsu, I'm not the best. I can work on it, but I want to put it all together. I don't want to keep training and do all this work and then find out I don't even like fighting in a cage because it's a different feeling. So I'm training for that. Everything's going well, getting ready for the fight. 2 weeks before the fight, the champion in my division, his opponent pulled out. So on my debut, I filled in that fight, 2 weeks notice, to fight the champion. He's undefeated. I'm making my debut. I fight in a division that's heavier than what I walk around at, so I'm very small. I go from being the first fight on the card to the 15th fight on the card, so I'm in the back for hours waiting. I got all these nerves. I've never felt it. You know, you feel a certain way. And then you go out to the fight. I went out, felt good. I was training for an opponent who was 5'3". When I got in the cage, my opponent was 6 foot. So my strategy of keeping distance obviously didn't help me because he's got the distance on me. So the fight goes. I do well for what I know, I think, but I got caught in the first round. He landed a good kick to my chest and knocked me off balance, and then he followed up with a really good knee. And it actually is why I had to get the eye surgery. And so he hits the knee, and he gets on top and TKOs. I'm not unconscious. He's just landing shots, and I can't get up. So he gets off. I get up. It was just rough. You go to the back. You're sad. You're thinking. You're crying. I have people come up telling me, he's the champ. You just fought the champ. You have more balls than anyone here, yada, yada, yada. But you don't want to hear it. You're sad. You're upset. You thought you're going to win. If you didn't think you're going to win, you wouldn't do it. And I took that one, kind of hard. Kind of sat on it and chewed on it. But I handled it a little bit better, But I could sit back if I wanted to and take that as I failed. I went into this fight and I failed, and I've lost all of my other fights. Or I take it for what it's worth. I go, I failed, but I know what it's like to fight the best fighter in the state. I know what it's like to fight in a division heavier than me. I know what it's like to fight as the co-main event. I know what it's like to be in a title fight. I know what it's like to be knocked out. I know what it's like to lose in a cage. I know what it's like to walk to So the next time I go to fight an amateur fight, and I'm not the main event, I'm not fighting for the belt, I'm fighting a guy I was supposed to fight for 3 months, not a short notice fight, I'll have a different perspective. I'll have a different outlook because I threw myself to the wolves in the first one, and I, in quotes, failed. But in that failure, it gave me comfort in the fact that I know I can hang in here. I know this is what I want to do. I know I can sit here and fight. That gives me comfort. So it was a loss, and I failed. At the mission was to win the fight. I failed at that, but I wasn't too scared to try because I thought I would fail, and I didn't just loathe in my failure and just wallow around in failure, feeling sorry for myself. I can take what I learned. I learned a lot about myself, about my fighting, and I can move it forward to other aspects of my life. Excuse me. And that's the thing. You can't be afraid to fail because you don't want to take that leap. I took that risk to fight the champ, risk to reward. I could fail, obviously. The odds of me failing are a lot higher, but I'm taking that risk because I either win or I learn. And if you let failures define you, you're going to have a long road ahead of you because it's a rough path when you get stuck in failing, and you can't let it keep you down. You just have to take what you know and learn from it. Same thing with the Edison and the light bulb is he learned 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. He failed in trying to make the light bulb, yes. But if after the first time he gave up, it'd be done. With stand-up comedy, something I've wanted to try, but I've always been, I can admit it, I'm scared to do it because I don't want to be laughed at. I don't want, in a bad way, I don't want to be ridiculed or bad, and I'm scared to bomb, and so that's failure creeping through. I don't want to fail, and that's going through my head, and I can admit that as a person. That's something I have to work on. That's another thing. You need to be honest with yourself. You have to. This isn't even about failure. You just have to be real with yourself, and I can admit that I'm terrified to get on that stage. I don't want to fail. I don't want to bomb. And I write jokes all the time, but I'm scared to fail. And it's just something I have to work through. And eventually I will, But the thing is, life is short, dude, and you only get one of them. Take every single opportunity that you can take that you think is good for you or that you want to do, and take it. Every opportunity presented to you, fucking grab a hold of it and go for it. I got asked on 2 weeks' notice. I asked the promoter on 2 weeks' notice to let me fight the champ. Why? Because there was a hole that needed to be filled, and that could have made that could have the risk to reward. And you have to take it. I can't worry about what if I fail, what if this, what if that. No, you have to go for it, and I would do it again. With anything, with this podcast, I could have stopped after the first one, could have stopped after the second one, but I have a vision, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to do it. Why? Because it's my life, and I can do it. I'm going to die someday, and on my deathbed, I don't think people are going to be saying, do you remember when he had that podcast that failed? Do you remember whenever he got knocked out by that guy? Do you remember when you tried to make a movie but it didn't work? Do you remember when you went and did stand-up and you bombed? No one gives a shit. You don't, straight up, in this world, you don't matter. You matter to your close people, but there are billions of people that don't know you exist. So no one's going to remember your failures. Do it. Your life is short, man. You have to take every advantage possible. You have to seize every moment, because at the end of the day, your time's going to be gone. And you don't want to be sitting there, like they always say, wondering what if. Don't let failure cripple you. That can cripple you more than anything, is just the fear of failing. Or when you fail, you let it eat you alive. And you sit in that failure, and that's not what you need to do. You don't need to be that failure. Keep moving. You're not failing, you're learning to get to the final product, because you never stop growing. Until the day you die, you don't stop growing as a person. I'm different than I was a year ago. I'm different than I was 6 months ago. Different than I was a week ago. That's the same thing. You're going to get 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You're going to change. Everything's going to change. So you're not failing. You're building to reach your next potential, to reach your new potential, to reach your new growth. Failure is the building blocks to your greatness. That's what it is. If you want to get to where you want to be, you have to fail. And that's what's going to make you. That's what will make you everything that you have. If you are handed everything, you don't have any experience. You don't know what it's like to be in the shit. If I were to go out and knock out every single opponent in 10 seconds, I don't know what it's like to dig deep in the second and third round. I don't know what it's like to be knocked out in front of people. And when it finally happens to me, it's going to be a shell shock. But when you work your way up from that and you get these experiences and you get these under your belt and you get comfortable with it, you get, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. I don't have the fear that I thought I had. That's when you make gains. That's when you improve. That's when you have progress. And you can't let it define you, man. You have a really short window to do what you want. If you want to be a painter, go fucking paint. If you want to make a movie and enter it in a film festival, go write that movie, make it, submit it. Who gives a shit? People make fun of it. You make $10. Are you doing it for the money? Because if you're doing it for the money, it might not be the right reasons. But who cares? The reviews, the critics. And that's the thing, man. Everyone wants to see people fall. There are so many more haters than there are people who like to see people succeed. Everyone wants to see you fail because they don't like what they have to see. They're upset that they failed or they didn't even try in general. You can't worry about that stuff. You have to dive head first. You have to go, fuck it. And again, at 85, do you think they're going to give a shit about you or you're going to give a shit about them? No. You're going to be surrounded by your friends and family, and you're going to look back and be happy on what you attempted and what you tried to accomplish. You can't let others dictate how you're feeling. And I just can't stress enough that you can't bask in your failure. You have to let it push you and drive you. And if not, it will grab you by the ankles and rip you back down. And you'll be starting from ground one. Don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as building blocks to your potential. That's all it is. Failure is just a path to get you to where you want to be. And you have to take those failures. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you make something different, is by failing over and over and over and over until eventually you get it right. If you want to go be a singer and play guitar, go get your guitar, go sing at an open mic. Do it. What? You have a business job that you do. Your friends will make fun of you. You're too scared. You're 65. Who gives a shit, man? If you're 50 years old and you want to learn how to skateboard, learn how to skateboard. Do what you want. Don't worry about failing. You gotta take what you want. Don't worry about what people say about you. If your aspiration is to go, obviously within reason, don't. If you have a wife and kids and a family, I'm gonna be an actor, and then just quit and leave everyone and move to LA. You're kind of a dick. But take the necessary steps to get to where you want to be. That's what you have to do. You have to take those steps. You have to. It's like getting in shape. You're not gonna go straight to just being a power lifter. You got to build. You're out of shape. You got to slowly get in shape and build and build and build until you get to that point. With failure, you're doing the same thing. Take your lessons learned. That's all it is just lessons you're learning. Take them. Put them together. Build something new. Learn from it and grow from it. You need to learn from your failures, not drown in them and not dwell on them. But take them as a catalyst to fire the future. And that's what I have to say. It's just, that's my thought on it. You got to keep pushing forward. You can't harp on it. You can't worry about it because you're going to fail. Sorry, you will. This podcast isn't going to be a hit first episode. I've already lost a fight. I'm not going to make a movie that's going to be, every movie I make is not going to be amazing. Every stand-up set I do is not going to be awesome, and I'm not going to be, you're going to fail. But then I know next time, when I'm in that situation, I'm comfortable with it. You need to be comfortable with failure. That's what failure is, man. It's just getting comfortable. And just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Don't worry about what people have to say. Don't worry about what you have to say. You're overthinking it. And you know why you're overthinking it? Because you're going to die someday. And it really isn't going to matter whenever you're dying what you did and didn't, what you did do. You're going to be upset with what you didn't do. You're going to be upset with not trying. You're going to be laying there, man, I really wish I would have fucking done that. I really would. Instead, I worked this plant job for 60 years. Obviously, if you have a family to support and all this, but again, you don't think everyone else who's done great things didn't have something in their way? You got to put your dreams into perspective and not worry about failing and this and that. You just have to go for it. This podcast might not work out. No one may ever hear this, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to make a movie. No one watches it, but I'm going to keep making them because that's what I like to do. And as I learn, it gets easier and easier and better and better and better and better until I have my finished product. And by the end of my life, you grow till you die. You expand your knowledge. You can do what you want with this life until you die. If you want to be closed-minded the whole time, you can. If you want to be open-minded, you can. If you want to try new things, I like to do new things. I've started playing blackjack a lot. I've liked doing that. I've gotten into cars. I'm learning about cars. I jump rope. I like jump roping. I do all kinds of stuff. You just keep growing. Keep learning. That's what you have to do. Don't worry about failing. Just learn from all your mistakes, other people's failures. Learn from them. Learn from my failures. Learn from your failures. Look at other people. Learn from their failures. And get comfortable with the fact that that can happen. And it's not embarrassing. It's not shortchanging yourself. It's your future. It's your building blocks. That's something you need to be comfortable with. It's a lesson. Well, there's my episode not about dicks and vaginas. So, yeah, that's simple as that, man. Can't be worried about it. You got to keep pushing forward. You know the deal. You're my thoughts. You're all of Scott's Thoughts. Let me know what you think. Hashtag Scott's Thoughts. You can spell it either way you want. I'll look at both. Find me on Instagram, Scott's Thoughts Podcast, just like it's spelled. Kick Scott's Thoughts, just like it's spelled. Type me up. Send me a message. Snapchat Scott's Thoughts, spelled THOTS. Hit me up. Let me know. I appreciate all the support. Keep spreading the word. I'm on YouTube. That website should be done by the time you hear this episode. So, my thoughts. All of you out there. That was my thoughts.